Khubor ka Batisi TV. Lawan Rashapi da ka Orange Nissan Loom So Po near Fabricate Shillong, Ringkat bat ka Victorium, ka Dukan ki Tiar Kilan Met, ka Babhatam Hakador ka Babit, Hannong Thumai Old Beat House Shillong.
O Menteri Ketenat Sam Boarding Jong ke Sarkar Jela u James PK Sangma aga arfu kendai trik unai leber 1000 arfu wei ulabo jingkeli ya ke MEECL Engineers Association Halor Kaei ka Nongrim bakal penpau ya ke jing Pyrshah ban pentrai kam ya ke Smart Meter Project hagane ke Jela Meghalaya. U James PK Sangma habaya keren bat kilat pathai khubor ulaong kumno kani ka kenhon jong ki engineer ke MEECL kinshu yeng Pyrshah Halor kani ka project habakari India barok kawai kan sa pentrai kam ya kani ka project khnang bante lakam ya ka jingsha to boarding ka bala juan ra ya ka jingdo nong ka bashar khai bah hadu kata ya ka tanat sam boarding hakari India bat haki jilla ba pher jongkari bat kunthubru hakani ka jilla Meghalaya.
Note that as I said, reforms is a difficult phase in the life of any kind of organization. It's bound to create a sort of disruption in the system, and today the engineers they have to understand that this is much needed reforms. They are resisting the implementation of these smart meters, which is, I think, that when the whole country is shifting from static meters to smart meters, it is because they see the kind of benefits that are there in bringing in smart prepaid meters, which we've already done. Now, how can the engineers say that this is bad for the state when the whole world, when the whole country is going through that transitional phase? And Government of India has made it very clear that within a certain period of time all meters are to convert to smart prepaid meters, and we've already initiated the process. So to make such kind of demands based on this is, I think, is unnecessary. Now if they say in terms of salaries, if you look at how salaries are being paid, very recently you've seen that salaries are being paid very much on time, within the first week of every month. Pensions are being paid, and this is something that was so erratic in nature in the past. The employees never knew when they would get their salaries. So I'm not saying that we have solved the problem of salaries, but I'm saying that with these kind of steps that we have taken right now, that many of these problems related to salaries, to pension, we are experiencing a turnaround. We are experiencing a streamlining of the system. So it's very unfair for somebody to say that salaries are not being paid and pensions are not being given. It's very unfair. The truth of the matter is that the whole system is getting streamlined as we speak. As a minister, I have not done anything wrong. I think that what I'm trying to do here today is to bring in reforms, very much needed reforms. And reforms is something that it involves many changes that is going to take place, and we want to bring in a lot of technology into improving the systems in the MECL, in the power sector. So this is something that is not a luxury anymore. It is a necessity to bring in reforms in the power sector. And I know maybe there may be some people who are uncomfortable with that, because it's very comfortable to be there in something that has been going on for so many years. Then suddenly when you come and you try to bring in reform, it's a form of disruption. So it will create a little bit of ripple effect, which many people will not be comfortable with. I completely understand that. But I think that the main important thing here is that I have not done anything wrong. I'm not guilty of anything. And today, only thing I'm trying to do is trying to bring in reforms. And if people think that bringing in reforms is something bad, then I will have to say I disagree with them.
So now what are you?
I think that I welcome all sorts of ideas, I welcome suggestions from our coalition partners. And today, if they have certain concerns, I believe these concerns are genuine. There's no doubt that a lot of people are being affected, in the energy sector in Meghalaya. But we have been working so hard to ensure that such kind of problems are minimized. They are streamlined so that the delivery mechanisms, the way that consumers are empowered, these are things that we want to bring in, and we're trying to put these into place. And our coalition partners, their intentions are good. Their concerns are very genuine, and I appreciate that, and I thank them for that. But then I think what's important is that if they have any suggestions, I'm more than welcome to listen to those suggestions. If these suggestions are very valid, and if these suggestions will bring about good for the organization, that is MECL, or for the power or the energy sector in Meghalaya, then yes, we will act upon it. But this is something that cannot be a monologue. It has to be something that we sit across the table, we discuss this. And I think the MDA Coordination Committee is one such platform where things like this will be discussed. So I think that this message has gone out to our partners that we must discuss these issues in the right platform, on the right platform.
You believe it should?
Yes, I do not, dispute the fact that there are problems. There are problems, and these problems have been going on for so many years. But what is important is that we all have to work collectively as a team to come together and to ensure that we all, find solutions to that. So I have said this earlier also, that this is something that it's not just an individual who can come about and bring about such kind of change. It has to be collectively done, and everyone has to play a part and come together and give suggestions and opinions and ideas. And there are many people who have already given me so many good ideas and suggestions, which we have started implementing and we have put into place. So if there are any more ideas and suggestions, yes, I welcome them. Is something that if you I would advise you, or give you a suggestion, that why don't you go to MECL and ask them for the records of how many hours of load shedding took place from the year 2010 to 2018, and now what is the kind of load shedding, how many hours of load shedding do we have. So you will see that you have to also, when you analyze that data, understand that it is during the lean season that we have majority of our load shedding. The lean season is sometime from November, December, January, February, March, when we have less rainfall, because most of our generation comes from rain-fed rivers which operate, the hydropower stations are operating because of it. And now if you look at the situation, if you go to MECL, ask them for the records, you will realize that load shedding has drastically reduced over these past 3 years. And when the allegation comes that the government is not performing in terms of the kind of load shedding that has been taking place, I think that the figures speak for themselves. The figures speak for themselves in terms of the fact that there is lesser load shedding right now than it used to be in the past. So I think it's very important that we have to understand it from that point of view, that load shedding is something that is right now. We had a few hours of load shedding in the past months. These were because of regulation by our power generating stations like NTPC, NEPCO, power transmission companies like PGCIL. So these happened because of the regulations imposed by them, not because we were deficit by power. We have streamlined the system in such a manner that today, even though we are just touch and go, our peak generation and our peak demand, the gap between it is not much, even though that is the scenario, but yet it is not because of the shortage of power. It is because of central power generating stations that come and they regulate us. So there's a big difference between regulation or load shedding in the past and of now. We have to understand that this regulation is taking place because of outstanding dues, not because of shortage of energy or power. Any solution to be achieved by my ouster, then it would be a point worth examining and discussing. Problems which have accumulated over the years, over so many years rather I should say, one cannot expect that you come and you immediately find the solutions to that in 3 years time. That is I think humanly impossible for anybody to come and just wave a magic wand whereby the problems, the kind of challenges that have accrued and accumulated over all these years can be just with the wave of a magic wand be wished away. It doesn't work like that. So as I've been repeatedly saying, there are solutions, there are the process for thinking out all these solutions has already has started, and we have already put into place many reforms, and we are seeing the results today. I don't know why, but no one has reached out to me. I have utmost respect for Bajamino. He has been my colleague in the last assembly, and we've been friends in the house. We have shared many ideas. We've taken part in discussions in the past, and Dr. Jimino has not reached out to me to tell me that this is something that I should step down and I should take responsibility for everything that has happened. See, he has not spoken to me personally, and neither has anybody else, those who have made such kind of demands. But having said that, I would like to state that it would be in the fitness of things that whatever has to be said should be discussed on this forum, and whatever ideas are there should be put out, and we are welcome to take those suggestions. The allegations of mismanagement of finance is something that we as a government we view very seriously. And we have always maintained that such kind of practices we will not be tolerating. In fact, if you have seen, there was a tender for the Maulai substation, and this tender was done in a very, very irregular manner, in fact in an illegal manner. This was pointed out rightly so by the Ministry of Donor, and we took action on that, and we have scrapped the tender, we have initiated proceedings. So what I mean to say is that such kind of practices, we have the least amount of tolerance for that, or rather zero tolerance for that. And now we are in the process of trying to make sure that these will be streamlined by introduction of the enterprise resource planning, that is ERP. Once you have the ERP in place, this is going to make sure that the whole structure, the whole process structure of the MECL, starting from billing to accounting, and everything is synergized, and they are coordinated in a better manner, whereby such kind of practices will be very difficult to carry out in such an environment. So all these things are happening, and I would like to very, very clearly state that we will not tolerate any such kind of financial mismanagement and irregularities. Now, in terms of whatever has been said, these are allegations, and I have very painstakingly and exhaustively replied in the assembly stating that these are allegations on which I think most of it were based on very, very loose sort of information. For example, the allegation that smart meters are being procured at the rate of rupees 9,444, which is, again, I would like to repeat here that that kind of calculation is actually very, very basic, saying that that is a project cost divided by 2 lakh number of smart meters, therefore 1 meter costs this much. So I have categorically stated in my last press conference that the meter cost is to the tune of rupees 3,750. It is nowhere near 9,444. So this is a kind of misinformation which is doing the rounds, and people are not aware of the information, the accurate one. Thereby, rumor mongering is so rampant here, and allegations of corruption are taking place. But these are strictly as per procedures laid down by the Government of India. CVC norms and guidelines are being adhered to, and all these kind of practices are being monitored. And so therefore, I do not see where these allegations of malpractices in terms of tendering is coming about.
Engineer.